got a scholarship to play tennis at this amazing college in Florida, right by the beach. And the team welcomed me with open arms, and it was one of the best years of my life. And they were absolutely amazing to me, and inspiring, and encouraging. And so I get there, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to, start my dream of being a college tennis player. And I get there, and within the first few months of me being there, I have a terrible accident where I wake up in the hospital. I have no idea what happened, but I'm in the ICU. And I can hear the nurses and the doctors talking about my heart rate's way too low. And I can hear them talking about people beside me. Somebody next to me actually died. It was not encouraging at all. But I had no idea why I was there, why I was at the hospital. So I woke up in this hospital. I had complete amnesia. I didn't know what had happened. And my coach used to joke and said, I got abducted by aliens. So, but what happened was, I was in the ICU for a week, and I had a severe concussion, and I had bruises and scrapes all over my body. And so they thought that I got hit by a car. That was kind of what the thought was at the time, because I couldn't remember anything. I had complete amnesia, and got me to the hospital. But so we never knew what happened to me. We never knew, we just knew that I had a severe concussion and that I was all banged up. That was all we knew, and it was a big mystery. And then 2 years later, I ran into a friend from the apartment building, and he said, "Hey, I remember you. How are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm doing great, And he said, "Well, did you recover okay from that accident?" So turns out I had passed out at the top of the stairs of our apartment building, and it was 3 flights up. And I guess what had happened was I was taking my bike down the stairs, and what had happened, normally I would take the elevator, but I guess the elevator was out of commission for some reason. So I took the stairs, and they were concrete stairs, and we were on the 3rd floor. And I passed out on the top of the stairs with my bike. And so I guess I tumbled down to the bottom of the stairs with the bike somehow, and landed at the bottom of the stairs in front of a car. And because the parking lot was down there. And so my bike was all mangled up. I was all mangled up, and I was really out of it. And this friend that became a friend of mine actually found me in front of this car with my bike mangled up and bruised and all, cut up. And he walked me back to my apartment, and I told him that I was okay. So, amazing. Thank you, Alex. You may have saved my life that day, because I was in intensive care from the concussion for a week. So, and then I had to learn it took me several months to walk and speak correctly again. And I never, ever got my center balance, really never came back completely. And I never was quite the tennis player that I was before that. I don't know what it did, what that concussion did, but it definitely, I couldn't, I was trying to fight it, and I was trying to bounce back, and I did. I mean, I consider that another success, is that I, fought through that. I was in intensive care, and I had a severe concussion, and I wasn't walking and talking correctly. And so I came back from that, and unfortunately I lost a tennis scholarship because I couldn't play tennis to the level of which, I used to be able to. I was very sad. And it crushed me, but I still wanted to continue on. So I did. I went to a college closer to home and went there to continue my college tennis career with the added benefit of an education. And I met, one of my best friends to this day there, and some really great people. But there again, this health thing just kept looming. I started having dizziness, continued nauseousness in the morning. I mean, this nauseousness was something, again, that started when I was a kid and never stopped. But it was only in the mornings, and I could function. I was highly functional. But then I think I passed out one or two times there. Looking back, I realized that what I was having was postural orthostatic tachycardia, which when you go from a laying down to a standing position, makes you nauseous and you can pass out. And so at this college, again, I had some wonderful friends, and I made some wonderful lifelong friends. And the coolest thing, the very coolest thing about this tennis college experience that I had was that one of my idols growing up in tennis, she was ranked number 1 in the state, got to be my roommate. So it's amazing. Like I got to and somebody that I idolized from afar, once I was up close with them and got to know her, she just impressed me even more. I mean, just the person she is. So you know who you are. I don't want to name names or anything on these videos because I know they're public. So, but that person helped me get through this next phase of mishaps in my college tennis career. And I call it career, but I never really had a career in college tennis because I kept having things happen. So at this new college, I had everything, I felt like I have my whole life ahead of me, and I was just rejuvenated and ready to sink in. And then I was playing a match, and I dove for a ball, and my knee dislocated. And yeah, I haven't thought about that in a long time. But I hurt my knee, and I had to have surgery to correct a torn meniscus. And then when my patella dislocated, I had this much cartilage come off in between my knee. So when I moved it, it would actually click. So I could barely move my knee. And after that, and knowing now what had happened, it was a dislocation, makes a lot more sense. But at the time, I didn't understand. I just thought, God, can't I catch a break? I mean, I had this thing happen when I was a freshman in college. I'm here to completely, start over again. And then I dislocate my knee. So as wonderful as this school was, and as wonderful as the friendships that I made, the coach just broke my heart. He had said that, he told me this, literally, that he referred to people that got injured and weren't allowed and couldn't play there as bad apples. And he told me that I was the worst recruiting mistake of his life. I'm having to smile to keep myself from crying, but can you imagine? I mean, you're a kid and you have an adult who you respect tell you something like that, all because I injured myself and couldn't play at the level that he expected me to. I should have been able to play at a better level, but I didn't know that I had this disease. I didn't know that, I was just a kid, and I was trying to put it on a brave face and trying to keep going. And, I lost my scholarship when I was a freshman because of a terrible injury. And then my sophomore year, and I had full rides to these schools. I same thing, lost my scholarship when I was, I told that they weren't going to renew it the next year. And I was just like, okay, thinking about all the athletes that were benched. I mean, is that what happens? Like, do athletes, they get hurt and they just lose their scholarships? Like, I don't know. Like, I realized that I couldn't play the level of tennis that they expected me to. But, this kid just doesn't live up to your expectations and you just drop them. All right. Okay. Well, I picked myself up and I said, I'm going to take what I can from, the wonderful friendships that I made, and I'm going to wish them luck, and I hope they do well. And the team was wonderful. The girls were wonderful. The school was wonderful. But I had to leave. It was too expensive. So, and I wanted to play tennis, even though I just had a knee surgery. Even though I was just completely physically beat up, I just, whatever reason, I just wanted to keep going. So I was just off my second failed season of tennis. And I went back home for the summer to regroup, and I was like, what should I do? And I just loved my school in Florida so much. I loved the people. I loved the coaches. They were just amazing and so supportive. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes to get back down there. My family couldn't afford for me to go down there and pay out-of-state tuition without a scholarship. So I was like, I'll figure out how to do it. So I went down there, back down to Pensacola, Florida on the Gulf Coast. And I worked. I worked for a year, and I taught tennis, and I grew, and I had time to do what I love to do, which was hitting that ball. And I met some really amazing people in Gulf Breeze, Florida, and a man that took me in that, taught me the ropes of teaching tennis. And I'll never forget that kindness. And I got in-state tuition because I moved down there and worked for a year, and I got in-state tuition. And I had friends that I had so much support. And so I'm like, let's do this. Let's go for this. Let's keep training. So I trained with the teaching pro in Gulf Breeze that taught me how to teach, taught me how to be a coach, and then I trained with the team, with some of the girls on the tennis team, the college tennis team. Took their time during the summer to hit with me, and the coach saw how much hard work I put in, and he gave me a chance, and he said, "You know what? You've put in the work. You can go back on the team." So I got back on my dream team, as I call it, and I played college tennis for a little while, until I got injured again and injured again, and the trainers just taped me up, and I kept trying, and then I found my window of coaching, the window into coaching, and I started teaching tennis, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I knew everything about tennis because I went to a tennis academy as a kid, and I was taught, everything there is to know. So I pursued my passion other ways. So I started teaching tennis, and I was blessed to teach at the best country clubs around in the Pensacola area, and with some of the best tennis pros around. You guys know who you are. and yeah, and I never got back to the tennis player that I was, before my body started giving out on me, but I was living life to the fullest, and I did it. I got back. I got back and played tennis at the college that I loved, with the coaches that I loved, the coach that I loved, and they gave me a chance, and so there's another success of me, of being able to overcome things. And I was part of something. I was part of something amazing. I was part of this amazing tennis team. I was part of a family. I was part of something bigger than myself. And it was amazing. And I made the best friendships. And I played college tennis until I graduated. And I got my degree. I happened to get my degree as well, which is great. But I enjoyed every minute. Thank you all for supporting me so much. I can't tell you, just giving me the chance, Coach. I really appreciate it. And it's a part of me forever, that team in Florida, and it's a part of my heart, and it'll always be one of the best times of my life, and with all the support and help, I did it. I played college tennis and graduated, and I have my degree, marketing degree, and communications degree, and I will never forget it. I'll never forget the kindness that was bestowed upon me, and how I stuck with it even though I was in pain and injured, and when I was on the sidelines, I became my team's biggest cheerleader. And it's good that I learned how to do that, because I need to be a cheerleader now for my own self, and I need to now I realize why I went through all of that, I needed to know how to not give up. Because what happens next in my life gets hard. So stay tuned for part 2, and thank you all so much for your support.